she's saying to me, oh, you don't like negative feedback. And I was like, no, I don't mind. I welcome criticism. I just don't welcome disrespect.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to disrespect me, you can fuck off.
Yeah. There you go, Luke. Get your bags and fuck off, mate, right?
It's off. I'm out. I'll leave you to it.
That's literally that's what I was faced with in that school. But, you know, each to their own. I couldn't care less anymore. I feel like I've got a better opportunity now.
How long was you at school for then?
Well, I started my resettlement with them in September 2024. And they called me May the 30th. Said we're terminating your contract. I signed a 2-year contract with them to get my QTS.
Did they have to give you a reason for that?
Yeah, I've got the email. And they talked a load of bullshit on that email saying, because I was on an informal support plan, which it sounds like, I was doing shit at my job, but I wasn't. The informal support plan came about in February when I was sectioned because I tried to, because of the suicide attempt.
Yeah.
And then when I came back into work, it was like a phased return. As part of the phased return, they put me on an informal support plan. I was exceeding those targets, and I got told before the half-term holiday, had a meeting saying, oh, yeah, you're meeting this target, you're meeting this target. I had somebody with me in the classroom watching me, and he submitted a really, really good review saying, oh, yeah, she's safe with the kids, she's doing this, she's doing that, I think she's great. Other teachers saying the same thing, and then I get a call on the Friday of the holiday saying, we're going to terminate your contract. Don't bother. You don't have to work your notice. Don't come back on the Monday, basically, but we'll give you the 3 months pay, which we'll see you till the end of August, and that is it. And I was like, but why? I don't understand. And they just was like, well, yeah,
So they didn't give you a proper reason why?
No, they just set out some load of bullshit on an email saying, I'm not meeting the teacher standards, and they don't think that I'm going to improve enough to be able to be a teacher. And I'm like, well, that's contradicting everything you were saying to me before the half term.
So when you left the army then, was there a programme to help you after that stage? Right, I'm leaving on the Friday. What happened to you on the Monday?
That because I was medically discharged.
Right.
I was medically discharged for PTSD. So I was...
How did they assess that?
Through a consultant psychiatrist.
Okay.
So I was going back and forth with the doctor, and they just ask you loads of questions, and because it's my behaviour as well, it was erratic. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to lie. I was being erratic. I did not understand what was going through my head. There were times where I would be like, they used to think that I just couldn't sleep. You know, I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. I was having just constant flashback and memories coming at me. I was being aggressive. I was just a mess. I was like, I think it was, they didn't like I was standing up to authority as well. Like I said, I'm a no fucks given type of person. When somebody was basically treating me like shit, and I was, in my final posting, I was being bullied basically. And I was saying, you're not going to treat me like this. And I was challenging them, and they didn't like it. They were saying I'm being insubordinate doing this. I was accused of even doing stuff like when I was in outreach team Crickhowell in Wales. This was all part of the army recruitment team. Some three guys from the recruitment team lied and said that because when I first got there in July 2020, I can't remember, it was 2024. I got there July 2024. We were on a recruitment event in North Wales, and we stayed in a hotel. After we went out to the school, did the event, and then in the hotel, we were all gathered together. We went for we had a few drinks and everything like that. 3 of the guys, after me having an argument with one of the other girls, I'm not going to mention her name because in case they're watching this, I had an argument with her, and then she put in a complaint against me, and they took her side. So they went and submitted a claim saying that I did some indecent exposure, that I apparently took my top off in that hotel room, said, do you want to see my tits, and was flashing myself. And I got accused of that, and I had to be in front of the CO and say, and I was defending myself. I was like, this didn't happen. Yes, I was in the room with them. Yes, we did have a few drinks. We had a meal together. But at no stage did I take my top off, and no stage did I expose myself. This is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. And because it was 3 people's word against one, they basically
they took their word.
They took their word.
Yeah.
And then they turned around and said, basically what happened, they said, we're not going to discharge you, but they're going to reduce me in rank. So I appealed it.
And what rank was you at the time?
I was a lance corporal,
And what regiment was you in?
This was with the Army recruitment team. I was
Oh.
AGC SPS, so I was basically a clerk
Right, okay.
with the AGC. AGC is the Adjutant General Corps.
Okay.
And yeah, so then when I was at 14 Signal Regiment, I promoted and I got my Lance Corporal, my Lance Jack, got to the Army recruitment team, and I was there as a Lance Corporal, and loads of shit was happening, like and I wasn't happy with the way I was being treated, so I put in a request as like, I want to be posted out of here. I was like, I don't like it. I'm like, this is affecting my career. I was like, I'm not doing the things I need to do in order to progress further in my army career. They wouldn't let me post out. They literally wouldn't post out. And because then I was like, right, fine, okay. I was like, I'm going to start, not that I was exposing people. I was like saying, when they would start talking to me, you're not talking to me like this. I'm not doing this. You can fuck off. You can't treat people like this. I was then saw her as the fucking enemy, you know.
How long was that? Was that where you start when you come out of the army? Was this getting to the end?
This is coming towards the end now.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back then. Let's go back to your childhood. You're a young girl. You're growing up in Manchester. Your parents have come over from
Yemen.
From Yemen.
Yeah.
So let's go back and see. I just take a little brief thing on your childhood and growing up, and what led you to join the army.
Eccles in Manchester. That's where I grew up. In a very, very conservative Arabic Muslim household. Eccles was like it was split really. It was like the white community, loads of Arabs there, loads of Asians there. I wasn't living on the street. The street that me and my family were living on, there wasn't a single coloured person there. We were the only coloured family there. It was all a white street. But I preferred it, to be honest with you. I didn't want to live on Devonshire Road where all the Arabs live, because they just butt into the business. So that's how I grew up. My mum and dad came to Yemen years and way before I was born. They came here, and then me and my sisters were born here, and my younger brother. But two of my older sisters were born in Yemen, and they came to the UK.
How many of you all together?
So I've got 4 sisters and 3 brothers. Okay. 2 of my brothers, I don't know who they are. I didn't grow up with them. One of them was one of them's a half brother, my dad's son. He's still in Yemen. And I've got my oldest brother, Rayad, who's also in Yemen. I didn't grow up with him. I've only ever met him like once in my life. Right, okay. And he's not a very nice person anyway. Right. So I'm kind of glad I've got no involvement in his life. Thing. Yeah.
So you've grown up in Manchester. You've gone to school in Manchester.
Yeah, gone to school in Manchester.
So what was your life like growing up? Like you say, from a Yemen background and growing up in an English school.
Yeah, growing up in an English school. So I would say it was. My parents were strict, like very, very strict. Like if social services, if my dad and mum. If social services knew what they were how we were being treated at home, we probably would have been taken off them a long time ago. Yeah, it was like
is that just a different culture thing?
I think it was a culture thing. They didn't know any better. My dad grew up as an orphan. He came to the UK because his mum died when he was like 6 years old. Right, okay. His dad died when he was like 3 months old. His oldest brother, he's got 2 or 3 sisters? I don't know. How many sisters did he have?
A tough life.
Yeah, so he came. I don't blame my dad for nothing. Absolutely nothing. He didn't know how to read or write. He still doesn't know how to read or write. He came here for a better life, to work. Yeah. But because he was being laid off constantly, laid off. We grew up in a council estate basically on benefits. That is how I grew up. Yeah. And it was just survival. My parents did everything to survive. My mum was a housewife. Yeah. Raising us kids while my dad was out there trying to survive. Yeah. That's how we grew up.
So you've gone through school.
You've
got to a certain age where you have to start thinking about your life outside of school and a career and things like that.
You'd like to think that. I would say I've been confused because it feels like your life is set for you. Okay. As if I was to carry on living in my parents' roof, your life is set for you. You've got that culture, that expectation, They didn't know, they were never educated, but they wanted us to be educated. Yeah. So it was like, you've got no choice. You have to go to college. You have to go to university. You couldn't do anything other than that. And it had to be from school to home to school. Couldn't socialise with anyone. Couldn't be seen talking to any males. Okay. That kind of culture. Even if you were to get a bad report from school call, say, for example, oh, your daughter's this, your daughter's that, or like you get a bad report, your daughter's very intelligent, she's clever. However, she's very talkative in school, you'd get a beating.
Yeah.
An absolute whopping.
That was tough.
Yeah, it was tough. So you'd be like, you're scared, like, I can't behave like this, you can't behave like this. But it was the norm. For me, that was norm. We used to go every weekend. We didn't even have pretty much a life, because every weekend we had to go to an Arabic school as well. Monday to Friday in the normal English school, Saturday and Sunday in an Arabic school, learning not just speaking Arabic. You'd learn the Quran, you'd learn how to read and write in Arabic. So because that's what we had to do.
Yeah. So you're fluent in Arabic.
Yeah, I speak it, I read it, I can write it. That
is a nice thing to have, even though
I've never really used it. I think I've used it a couple of times in the army, really.
Yeah, you've got a nice thing. So
Yeah.
where did you go from there? So now you've decided.
Gone to college, and then
Have you left home by now? Or
no,
You're still at You're still at home.
I'm still at home.
Yeah.
Got to college, and then so gone through, did my A levels. The last year of my A levels, when I finished, my dad and mum were like, "Oh, okay, we're going to Yemen on a family holiday, you and your sisters." Now, this is going back to 2005. 2005, you, your sisters and your brother, we're all going to go to Yemen for the summer holiday, and then we're going to come back to the UK. That wasn't the case. It wasn't a summer holiday. That was a trick. It was a trap. Me, my mum, my dad, my brother and my 4 sisters travelled to Yemen. We got to Yemen, because my sisters were at university then. I know I'm jumping back and forth.
No,
I'm ADHD as fuck.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So my sisters were at university then. At that time, you do what every single
Young girl
student does.
yeah.
Yeah, you go out, you have fun.
Yeah.
That's what everyone does.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it at uni myself, but because I was petrified. But when news got back to my parents, they were like, "Oh, they're embarrassing us. They're bringing shame to the family. People are talking, your daughters are slags, your daughters are doing this." My dad took them to Yemen. But I was at college then, about to go to university. I had never done that. I'd never touched alcohol before, never had a boyfriend. I was just from college to home. I was even wearing a headscarf.
Yeah.
I was basically the textbook version of what they wanted.
Yeah.
But my sisters wasn't. They got to Yemen. My dad took us into a room, me and my younger brother, and my mum, and he was like, "You and your brother, we're going back. Your sisters are not."
Really?
Took their passports off them. He goes, he took their passports off them, and he was like, "You're staying behind in Yemen. You're gonna get married. You're not going back to the UK, because of what you're doing." He did that.
So what happened? Did they stay in Yemen?
Yeah, they were getting the shit kicked out of them. They were beaten.
They get married, or
Yeah, they did.
so where are they now? How did they?
So it's a long story.
Give me a brief of it.
The brief of it is, they got married. To Kokab, Diana, Layla got married. Ganima had to run away because my sister Diana tried to murder her. She basically took a gun and tried to shoot her in the head because she tried to escape. She wanted to go back to the UK.
But your other sister now, by then, was happy.
No, she wasn't happy. She's an evil person, by the way.
Okay.
She tried to murder. She took a hammer, basically, and she smashed my dad's head with a hammer. She wanted to kill him in order so then she can take their passports and return back to the UK. But he didn't die.
Oh.
He didn't die.
Oh, she did actually physically do it then?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. He didn't die. He was in Yemen and then in the hospital. So what did she do? I was back in the UK then with my brother and my mum. She was like, "Oh, shit. He didn't die." So she tried to act like the hero. What she did was just like go to the hospital and saying like, "Oh, we'll look after you. I'll look after your home. Don't worry. We've got your back and all this," and paying for his, treatment and everything like that. Ganima, as I'll be honest with you, if that happened to me in Yemen, I'd do the same thing. She was like, "I want an escape." She wanted a passport, so she was go back to Yemen.
Yeah.
Diana got wind of it. What she did was she took Ganima, she dragged her out, and she took my dad's gun, and she took it and she tried to fire it. The gun misfired. It didn't, because obviously this, being in the army now, I've learnt that.
Yeah.
It wasn't well maintained. That's why it didn't fire.
So she would have killed him, basically.
She would have killed him, and she would have killed my sister.
And then, but what would have been the consequences of that?
In Yemen, she would have got away with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
it's a lawless society.
Wow.
It's in the middle of a village. You can easily get away with anything. That place, you could get away with murder in that place. Do you know much about Yemen?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't,
you could get away with murder in that place.
Right. Gosh. So that's so all that's been going on. Your sister's attempted, obviously, to kill your dad.
And my sister,
That sort of.
Ganima, yeah. I was back in the UK then, already in university.
You went back with your
brother. My
your
brother was 13 at the time.
And your mum?
And my mum.
So you're all back there, and your dad and the sisters are in Yemen, and all this is going on in Yemen.
All this is going on.
Are they back now?
Yeah, they're back now. I've got a sister, Layla, who's married now. She's happily married now, with the same guy that she married in Yemen, and she's got 5 kids with him.
So that worked out okay.
That worked out okay. Diana is out. She's not married anymore, but she's come back to the UK, and she's basically still causing a lot of problems. Yeah. Till this day, she is the cause of a lot of my problems.
Well, she's not killing people.
Well, she won't be able to get away with it in the UK.
No.
If she could,
she would.
She would.
But in Yemen.
But even in the UK, she could get away with it in the UK. She would do it. She's evil. I cannot express just how evil this person is.
Wow, that's interesting.
So yeah, back in the UK, obviously with the situation that's going on, because my sister's been kept there. I went into the same university, Salford University, doing the same course that my sisters were doing before they got shipped off to Yemen.
Okay.
Obviously, the teacher, she's called, at the time she was a doctor. I think she's a professor now. She was called Dr. Michelle Ortison.
Right.
I don't know if she still works at the University of Salford, and she asked me, she was like, "You're a caterer. What's happened to your sisters? Like, I'm not seeing Diana, Layla." She didn't know Ganima, because Ganima wasn't doing biological science.
Right.
And she went CoCab, and I was like, I didn't know how to answer it. So I went back home to my mum, and I was like, they're asking about him. And she was like, she made me lie. She made me write a letter to him. And I think they've probably still got that letter somewhere, saying, "Oh, my sisters have been involved in a car accident in Yemen and they died."
No.
Yeah, I had to give that.
So what happened when they come back?
They didn't go back to university. It got exposed because that Dr. Ortison, Dr. Michelle Ortison, she didn't believe it.
Right.
I think she got in touch. She must have got in touch with the Foreign Affairs. Okay. She was like, something's going on. I think she did. She went, they've gone to Yemen and have not come back, and I bet their younger sister is here at this uni, doing biological science, and she's saying that they died in a car accident.
Right.
But they've already they already know, because I think Ganima told me about this, actually. She was like saying that, do you know what they did? They contacted the embassy when they were in Yemen, trapped. Right. And they were like saying, "We're trapped, basically. We've come here under the false pretense it was a holiday. My dad's taking our passports off us and everything like that. We need help." Right. They did. They said, "We can actually send people to the village because you're British citizens, and we can take you back. But your mum and dad are going to be arrested for what they've done."
Yes, yeah. So I was just going to ask that question. What happened? What was the consequences of it all in the end? Nothing.
They dropped it. They were like, "Mum," even though what they were going through.
Yeah.
They were like, "Actually, let's not do this to my mum and dad. Let's not. It'll be embarrassing. It's humiliating." Do you know what I mean? If they get arrested, my mum will get arrested in the UK, and my dad arrested in Yemen. Do you know what I mean?
Where are your parents now?
Back in Eccles. Okay. Like.
So basically, everything's gone full circle now. They're back.
Yeah.
Together, and they're just carrying on.
Really.
And that was like an episode that happened in.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Ganima has not seen the family in years. Like, she's not had contact with my mum and dad since, I'd say 2006. Because she did eventually come back to the UK. How she came back to the UK it wasn't easy for her. What happened was, after what Diana did to her, she left. And then she wanted to go back to the UK, but because she wasn't married and she's not got permission from her dad or her brother or anything like that, the laws in Yemen are not like that. They were like, you need permission from somebody, a male member of the family or a husband, to say you can travel alone.
Okay.
She did a deal with a guy to say, I'll marry you, and then you give me permission, and then when I return back to the UK, I will do an application to get you over.
Yeah.
He agreed.
Did that work? Yeah.
Well, he agreed with it. He fell for it. Okay. He was like, yeah. Signed. They got married. She came back to the UK, and then afterwards she was like, right, I'm divorcing.
Okay. So he never came.
No. It was just. It was a means to get back.
Mm.
She needed that permission.
I totally understand that. Yeah.
And she
desperate,
did.
And she wants to get back, and she used whatever means she could to get back.
Which
is,
I would do the same if I was in that situation. It's a survival. She came back, but you'd think you'd go back. So she didn't. She came back to Manchester, registered at university again at Salford University. to continue her studies, because that's what she was doing before she went. I think it was business studies. She registered there, but she was living in the student dorms. I was still at university, and I seen her.
Okay.
I seen her.
How's your relationship now with you?
With Ganima. I've got a really good relationship with
Yeah,
her. She
good.
doesn't live in the UK no more. She's now in America.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So you've still got a good relationship. Take us now on your journey from there. That's all gone on. You're in university. You've done well at university. You've got...
Yeah, I did well.
Yeah.
I had no choice, to be honest with you. Every when I put my heart and mind into something, whatever distraction I've got going on, I do not let it affect my goal, because I've had to learn to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I need this, so I don't care what distraction I've got going on. You know, I can compartmentalise, put that to one side and focus on, you know, the task in hand.
Okay.
And that's what I was doing. I knew what was going on, and I absolutely fucking hated going home.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was studying hard, staying behind at university just so I can, like...
What was your goals at that point? What did you think studying hard and getting your degree was going to achieve for you?
Get me out of home.
Just get you out of home?
Just get me out of home.
So let's go from there then. When did you actually leave home?
I ran away from home.
Right, okay.
I ran away from home.
Was this after you finished your university degree? Or?
After I finished my university degree, I started doing my masters, and I ran away from home then, because Dinah was then before all that, let's go back to Ganima.
Okay.
Because what she did to Ganima, when I told you when I saw Ganima, you know, she got her accused of terrorism.
Oh.
She tried to get me accused of terrorism as well, my sister Diana.
Who accused them?
Diana accused. She called the police on us.
Oh, your own sister called the police.
Yeah.
And accused you of terrorism. Okay.
Because when I saw Ganima back at Salford Uni, she was like, she didn't trust me then, obviously, because I came back originally the first time with my brother and my mum. She didn't. She got kept there, so she thought that I had something to do with it. I never did. I'm like, what the fuck have I got to do with any of this?
Yeah.
You know, I only found out in Yemen from my dad, literally 24 hours before you found out. I didn't know he was going to do this.
Yeah.
Do you think if I knew any of this that I wouldn't have even flew out?
Yeah. Because you were the only girl who went back.
Yeah, me and my younger brother at the time. He was 13. I was 17.
Right. So she felt you had some influence on her.
Yeah, like that I was the type of person that probably went to mum and dad going like, oh yeah. My sisters are doing this, my sisters are doing that in order to get me back and get them trapped. I never did that.
Of course
I
not.
was questioned by my dad.
Yeah.
I was questioned, and I was like, absolutely. I went, I don't know. I went, I don't think they're doing anything. He went, you do know, because you sleep in the same room as them. I was like, I go from college to home and home to college. I don't do anything, you know.
So you were questioned.
Yeah.
But so what happened with the terrorism thing?
Yeah. So what happened was, Ganima turns around to me like, I don't know why the fuck she did this, but she did. She turned around to me, she was like, you know what, I want to go back home. I just not live there. I want to see my mum and my dad. And I was like, Dinah's at home, mate. Like, why would you, like, and she was like, I went, what I do, I'll let me go back. Let me speak to my mum and say, I saw Ganima at uni and she wants to go home. Went to university, I went back home and I pulled my mum to one side because I knew Dinah was there. And I said, I went to obviously in Arabic. I went, my shuft tahiyya, you know. I saw Ganima at uni, and I said, she said she just wants to come and visit. That's all she wants to do. Yeah. My mum didn't have a problem with it, believe it or not. She was like, yeah, she can come. I was like, right, okay. I went, I'll speak to her. I'll arrange a date and everything, because I told her, I went, you know, Dinah's at home, and I just don't want anything bad happening to her. You know, I can't be arsed with any trouble. Let's just fucking get our family back normal again. I went back to university and I went, Ganima, you know, I spoke to my mum and she said, yeah, you can come back to England. Not England.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can come and visit. I went, but Dinah's home. So what we'll do is, when you're free, I'm free. We'll go together. We'll get the bus. I wasn't driving then. She doesn't know how to drive. I went, we'll get the bus together and we'll go in together. I'll stay with you. Do you know what I mean? Have you talk with your mum and I'll stay with you. And then when we leave, we'll go out together. Let's do that. We did. Ganima agreed to it. We went back. Dinah was at home, and then when we came in, her evil fucking mind turns around and she was like, Mahad, do me a favour, could you go through Ganima's bag, get her mascara or her makeup? I think it was a mascara. Yeah, it was a mascara. Go to the bathroom, get the bleach. I'll put a bleach in a mascara. I mean, why the fuck would you do that? I knew what she wanted to blind her.
God.
It's not the first time she's done it. Years ago, she used to, I think once she tried to pour bleach over her eyes or something like that. Yeah. My family's fucked. It's been fucked for years.
Yeah.
So then I turned around and went, Ganima, we're getting the fuck out of here, you know. Dinah's trying to put bleach in your eye and all this and that. So as she was leaving, Dinah got one step off her head. She picked up the phone, called the police. She was like, my sister's come to the house, you know. She's come here to threaten us. She's got weapons on her and all sorts. Fucking, it was like not less than 2 minutes. I had almost like a SWAT team fucking outside the house. Pinned Ganima to the ground, arrested her, took her away. She got arrested. And because she was like, Dinah accused her saying she's got weapons and everything, they raided her student dorm at Salford University looking for weapons that never existed.
Right.
She had to surrender her passport to the police station every week, go to the police station to register, sign, saying, I'm not leaving the country while the investigation's ongoing. Wow. They eventually cleared her, but she had to go through that ordeal. She got embarrassed. She got so embarrassed to return back to uni because all the students that were living in that dorm had witnessed the police raid her flat.
Yeah. Basically, she's been accused of terrorism.
She fucked off to London.
Wow.
I don't even think she didn't even complete her degree. Yeah. She fucked off to London. She was like, I can't deal with this anymore. She left to London, was struggling, living, you know, shared accommodation. You know what the prices are like.
Yeah.
And then working like I think it was a call centre job, paying like £1,000 a month just for a small room to survive. She eventually met somebody and everything like this, an American guy, and ended up moving to America with him. Now she's living in Nashville, Tennessee, happy. Her life has moved on and she's doing well. In fact, I'm going to see her out in July.
That's good.
In Tennessee.
Well, that's a happy ending to that.
Yeah. Now let's rewind back to what happened to me.
Yeah.
Ganima's now in London, you know, living her life. I'm still in Manchester. I hadn't joined the army then. I was in the process of studying for my masters. Dinah was jealous because she didn't study. She couldn't complete her studies. Well, I think she's done it now. I don't fucking know. But at that time, she hadn't graduated. I'd graduated and I've started my masters. The jealousy got too much for her. She was accusing me of shit. She was going back to do you believe my hand's studying? She ain't studying. She ain't doing this. She's doing that. She's out there shagging guys. She wanted the same to happen to me. What happened?
You,
yeah, discredit me.
Yeah.
So what did? She couldn't get away with it because she knew there's no way. I'm in the UK. This is fucking democracy. You can't force me out in Yemen. I've got a British passport. I'm a British citizen. Yeah. I dare you. Come on then. Fucking come at me. She couldn't do that. So what did she do? She stole my laptop, started downloading pictures of Osama bin Laden, calling the police my sister's a terrorist. I had the police fucking take my laptop.
Yeah.
I got a call from my mum when I was at university saying, you need to come home right now. The police have come and they've seized your laptop. Oh, what we can do is we can help you just to get you out of this trouble. We'll book you a flight, a one-way ticket to Yemen. Just hide for a little bit. I went, do you think I'm fucking stupid? I went, absolutely not. I went, give me my laptop. I knew they had it. And they were like, we can't. I went, the police have got it. I went, I'll call the police right now. I went, I will call the police right now, say I want my laptop. They went, no, because they found a picture of Osama bin Laden. I went, I've never downloaded no fucking picture of Osama bin Laden. I went, that is Diana. Diana has fucking downloaded pictures of Osama bin Laden and put it on my desktop. I don't know if, I'd never got arrested. I never got questioned by the police for it.
Yeah.
But the weeks I didn't have my laptop. And then I turned around and went, do you know what? This is getting ridiculous now. I need my fucking laptop. I went, I'll tell you what, if that's the case, I went, I'll just have to stay longer at university. I won't be coming home at 4 or 5 o'clock the times you want me home. I won't be home till 10, 11 o'clock at night because I'll have to be at the library studying because I need a fucking computer.
Yeah.
Eventually, they pulled it out of a drawer and gave me my laptop back. She continued. You know what I did? I had enough. I ran away from home. I packed my bag secretly and I contacted a mate of mine. I turned around and I said to Brian, he's called Brian Kenyanga, lives in Warrington in England. And I said, I need to leave home. I went, I can't carry on living under this roof. Do you know what he did? He said, fine, pack your bags. I packed my bags and then he came to meet me and I took my bags and then went into his car, drove off, never returned home.
How old was you then?
I think I was about 21.
21.
So
it's quite
21.
Late. Yeah.
Yeah, it was late, but
But you got the courage to move on.
I had no
and
choice.
get out. Yeah.
It was like, because, oh yeah, before that, do you know what she was doing? I was like, because I was paying installments for my master's degree. I did save a little bit of money there, but I was paying installments, so I couldn't really afford to and I was paying for my bus back and forth from from Eccles to Salford Uni. And I couldn't afford to, so I was eating at home. Do you know what I mean? I was contributing towards the bills, but, you know, Dinah So my mum actually turned around because at that point I was educated, I'd graduated, so my mum knew that I wasn't fucking about. And when I was doing my masters, my mum turns around, she was proud of me. She was like, "Do you know what you're doing your masters? You know what? I'll tell you what, just to ease the pressure off you." She goes, "Don't pay for the food or anything like that. Just eat whatever's inside the house. That's fine." So my mum, I think that they went again to Yemen, and I was left alone in that house, and I was studying and everything like that, so alone in the house, and Dinah was there. Dinah went. And she was like stopping me from eating. She was putting her name all over everything in the fridge and everything like that. And saying, "You can't touch that. I bought that. You can't touch that. You can't touch that." I'm like, "What the fuck am I going to eat?" So sometimes I used to go days without eating.
Wow.
Because I couldn't afford to actually buy me food. And she was putting her name over everything and stopping me from eating. So then whenever I had a little bit, I'll just buy crisp there, I'll buy a sandwich there. That's fine. I can survive. I used to do, intermittent fasting, not deliberately. Not intentionally.
What was your mum saying about that? Or didn't she?
She didn't believe me.
Yeah.
You know, she was like, no. Because Dinah would call her up and feed her shit. She's bullshitting, she's lying, she's embarrassing. She's going from Yemeni house to house begging for food. She's embarrassing the family. And I was like, I've not gone to anyone's house and say, "Can you feed me?" I went, I've not done that.
Yeah. Where was your brothers now?
My brother, where was he then? Was he? I think he was at college or something.
Okay.
He was being controlled.
So they weren't involved in any of this?
No, my brother was at home. He's like, do you know, I think it was because he's like the youngest boy. He'd get away with fucking all sorts. So you know what I mean? He never really had it tough. So
the boys have it different to the girls, obviously.
Yeah.
So you've moved on now?
I've moved on then.
You're now...
But then, like, I'm living in Brian's house, sleeping on the sofa.
Yeah.
Couldn't go back home. I couldn't, and do you know, my brain then started to fuck up. I couldn't focus on my studies. I had to take some time out from my masters and then look for a job. I was working in a bar. I went to in Manchester. It was, I forgot the name of the Sinclair Oyster Bar. Sinclair's Oyster Bar. Started working there, and then I got myself. I met a guy. I wouldn't say that I fell in love with him. I was using him. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because he had his own flat, and I wanted to get away from Brian's sofa. I was like, there's no way to fucking live sleeping on a sofa. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you saw an opportunity.
Met somebody, so I used him.
And stayed with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
how
then
did that work out?
It didn't really work out. I ended up. I got tired of fucking living in that. I got tired of working in the bar, earning shit money. And then he turns around and he was like, he went, "Oh, I've gone up." He goes, he was from Jordan originally. He was caught, and he was like, "Why don't we go to Jordan?" He goes, "We can use your skill. You can teach English, earn a lot of money and everything like that." He goes, I know a teacher there. It's called the Modern School of English or something like that. It's in Amman, in the capital, and we can go there and we can get you a job there and you can start teaching English. You'll earn so much money." I left the UK to do that with him.
Did you still feel that your relationships would be with a Muslim man?
No, I didn't care at that point.
But he was he a Muslim?
Yeah.
All right.
But to be honest with you, I couldn't care less. At the moment, at that time, in my head, I don't care if he was a Muslim, a Jewish, a Christian, an atheist. I didn't give a shit. All I cared about was I need to survive. I need to survive. My life is a mess.
It was just a coincidence you met someone who was of a similar...
Yeah, it was just a coincidence. And it was a coincidence because Brian, he was a karate player. He used to train in the same... Brian was he was a black belt. I think he was a second dan black belt in karate. And they were training in the same dojo. And then I went with Brian once just to see him fight. And that's when I met him.
Oh, okay.
And then,
So you was in a relationship with him and you went to...
I went to Jordan.
Went Jordan with him.
And I regret doing that. I regret doing that because when I went to Jordan with him, it wasn't what he said. I got myself teaching in that job that he said was teaching
English.
in English didn't exist.
Okay.
They didn't. The school was there, the college was there, but that job wasn't available. So I had to go and then fucking look for a job. I ended up finding a private company who was teaching ESOL as a second language for those that want to then the Jordanians that want to move to Canada or America, not for the UK, but for Canada or America. And I was teaching them in English. I was doing that, but for peanuts. You couldn't even barely pay the rent. I was
What
like,
was the situation in Jordan then between men and women?
it was a bit more free.
A bit more free.
A bit more free. So I could have easily left Jordan. I
Okay.
didn't have no money to leave.
So there weren't no restrictions there
No.
like there was.
No restrictions there, as in Yemen. It was a very, very different place. It was a bit more of a culture shock to me because I was like, in my head, well, it's an Arabic Muslim country, and they're like the UK. They're more liberal. They're not conservative like in the Gulf, like say Yemen.
So you took a bit of a chance going to Jordan.
Yeah, well, I was like, well, I need money. I need to survive.
So you saw that as an
I
opportunity
thought,
to
yeah,
get out.
any opportunity to survive, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got nothing to lose, so
So how did you suddenly...
I went to Jordan, started teaching there, saved up money, got my passport, and I returned back to the UK. I got myself a shitty flat.
On your own?
On my own. Got myself a shitty flat. He then followed. He didn't like the idea that I'd come back, so he followed, lived in a shitty flat, struggled to get a job. I went on benefits.
With him?
Yeah. I went on benefits with him, and they were in the housing benefit, then we were paying for that flat. And then I was like, my life is a mess. I can't believe I am like 22, 20, or 23. I can't even remember how old I was at that point. And this is my life. What is going on? This is not right.
Because have you got your degree?
I got my
at this
degree
point?
then, but I had, so what I did was, I was like, right, this is not right. I can't do this anymore. So then what I did was, I was like, I'm going to chance it here. I've got no choice. Like, in order for me to build my life, maybe I'll just go back to my mum and dad's in Eccles. I left him.
And did you go back to
I went back to my mum's and dad's. I left him and I was like,
was your sister still there?
Dinah was there, but I was like, I don't care.
You're brave then, aren't you?
Yeah, but I didn't care.
Yeah. That situation was, even though that was a harsh situation, it was better than the situation you were in.
Yeah, it was like picking between best of two evils.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to live my life on benefits.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking go back to mum and dad's house at least. So went back to mum and dad's house. I went, I put up with the beats. I put up with anything. I don't care. I put up with the torment. I put up with anything. I just don't want to live that life anymore.
Yeah.
I went back to mum and dad's house. I tried to rebuild my life. And the only way I could do that is they were like, oh, maybe try and practice Islam a bit more. Started re-wearing the headscarf again. I got myself a job working as a medical laboratory assistant in a place called TDL, Doctor's Lab in Salford Keys. And then I started doing my masters again. Finished my masters. And then when I finished my masters, I, believe it or not, I was working in TDL and I met a guy. I wasn't even thinking about the army then. And I met a guy called Stephen Kandawashika, who's in the army and he's still serving till this day. He's a biomedical scientist in the army. I was seeing it. He was married. And I started to see him. And
so he was having an affair.
He was having an affair. But yeah, I didn't know he was married at the time, to be honest with you. No. So yeah, we were having an affair. And then we got caught out. And then I got a gross misconduct. I got sacked from TDL.
Oh, you were working then in TDL?
Yeah.
You were both working in TDL?
Both. He was working as a bank staff. So what he was doing is in the army, working as the army. So then in the weekends when he was free or whenever you've got, like your block leave and stuff like that, he'd then travel to TDL and he'd work there as a bank staff and he'll do the night shift. And because as the night shift biomedical scientist there's a room that you can sleep in. So he had an accommodation there where he can sleep and shower and he was earning extra money.
All right. So he was in the army and he was working part-time there.
Basically,
and that's where you met him.
And that's where I met him because I was already working there.
So how did that pan out after they found out who found out?
Because this is what I did was because I was like working there. My shift was from 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night. And because he was the night shift staff, I think he started like at 10. It started at 10 and then it'd work till the morning. And then it's his time to sleep. And then, did he start at 8? I can't remember what time he started. God, it was such a long time ago.
Yeah. But you met?
We met. And then, so sometimes I'd just lie to my parents and I'd be like, oh, by the way, I'm working nights, and I'd sleep over with him in that room.
So, okay.
And then I'd do that. It got found out because there's cameras and stuff like that. And somebody saw me like leave on the camera and they're like, what's she doing here? Do you know what I mean? Like, you should have finished and left by 10 o'clock at night. And I didn't. They saw me. Done their investigation and they saw what was going on. I ended up getting a gross misconduct and I got discharged from there. So I got sacked.
What about him?
They kept him.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
isn't it?
He still carried on working there.
Okay.
And I ended up, I had no job. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And he was like, why don't you go to the army? I was like, so what I did was obviously throughout the application process.
Have you stopped seeing him now, or you're still seeing him after you've been sacked?
Did I stopped seeing him. No, I carried on seeing him.
I was going to say, how long did that go on for?
It went right until the point I started when I joined the army.
Right.
When I joined the army, then
He went back to his wife.
Officially, he went back to his wife straight away, to be honest with you. She didn't leave him. I think she didn't leave him because of the money.
Maybe she didn't know, did she?
I think she found out.
Oh, did she?
Yeah,
Okay.
but she didn't leave him because he was making a lot of money.
Financially.
Financially, she's got a nice house. She doesn't have to work. She's just living off his income. Do you know what I mean? And that's what most women do.
Yeah.
I was
So now you've been
sacked.
shown that the army might be a career for you.
So I applied. I literally I knew I was going to get sacked because I'd already gone online and I went and I applied to do my selection. Just applied to join the army, online, and they called me whilst I was sat outside on the chairs waiting to go into my disciplinary hearing. And I knew what was coming, but I was like, it's fine, I'm preparing for it. So I did that. They told me, gross misconduct and everything like that, dismissal.
Yeah.
And I just didn't care. I was like, okay, so I've applied for the army. They called me. They were like, oh, you need to come in for your interview. Went in for the interview. They give me a date to go on selection. The selection was going to be all the way in Glasgow. I was like, fuck, how am I going to bluff this to my parents? Because I didn't tell them.
You're still at home with your parents at this time.
Didn't know a clue. Yeah. They didn't know I got sacked.
Yeah.
They didn't know that I've had applied for the army. I just turned around and I said to him, I was like, oh, I've just left there. I went, I don't like it there anymore, so I've left there. And then I signed up for an agency and I was working like as a locum, like agency, like medical laboratory assistant, just like. So they thought, okay, she's left there, she's got herself another job. But in the whole time I was applying to join the army. And I'd applied. And then on the day that I was going to Glasgow, obviously they paid for it, the train ticket, going to Glencoe in Glasgow to do the selection. I was like, how do I tell mum and dad? I turned around and said, oh, I'm doing some medical training in Scotland, so I've got to get the training. They were like, yeah, no problem. Went there, did my selection, come back. And they were, how are you training go? I was like, yeah, it went really well. So then I had to go through, did the medical bit, and I've got sickle cell trait. So what they did was they sent me a letter and I thought it was going to be a letter to say, oh, do you know what? Here's your phase 1 date you're going to start. They were like, because you've got sickle cell trait and everything like that, we're going to have to refer you to the consultant haematologist. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I might not even get into the army now. What am I going to do? They referred it to the consultant psychiatrist. Within a month, that came back saying they've approved it because it's only a trait. You've not got sickle cell anemia. You've not got the disease. We can have you. I was like, oh, something's happening. So, and then I had to go to the doctors, and they had to sign some paperwork and everything like that to say we're releasing your medical records to the military. Right. They did that. I waited about 6 weeks, and then I got a letter saying, here's your day for basic training phase 1, in Pirbright. Now officially you're going into the army, you've enlisted.
Yeah.
How the fuck do I tell my mum and dad?
So your parents are still quite controlling at this stage.
Even till this day they're controlling.
You still feel
I still
like
feel
that
fear.
like there you felt fearful that, how do I tell my parents?
Yeah.
But you're now what, 21, 22?
No. I joined the army and I was 27.
So you're 27 and you're
27.
still really concerned about how your parents are going to take it.
Yeah.
Even to the point where you don't want to tell them you're going up for an interview in Scotland.
No. I told them it's some training, medical training.
Why do you think that is? Why? Do you think even at that stage you're allowing them to control you? Just because you're living with them, or?
I don't know. I think it's to do with the culture, what they expect,
Yeah.
In my culture, as a female, yeah, you do go to university, you do go and get studied. And I don't think it's to get yourself a good job. I think they expect you to have that reputation, my daughter's this, my daughter's that, get yourself a husband, you can't be out there living your dream, because if you are, you're a slag. You ain't got somebody watching over you. You're a female living alone. You're clearly out there sleeping with different guys, and they don't want that. People laughing, your daughter's this, your daughter's that.
Yeah.
So it's having to live up to their expectations.
Yeah.
So,
but the boys don't have that.
No, the boys don't. The boys are like, I don't know. Like, say for example, I went out to a nightclub and I was drinking. Oh, you're a slag. You're ashamed. Let's fucking do something about this. A boy. It's fine, it's okay, it happens. It happens, one day he's gonna knock his head and he's gonna change.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Is that still today?
Yeah, 100%. I can see some females, but a lot of people will disagree with me. The girls, they would they will disagree. No, I'm happy. Fuck off. No, you're not happy.
Yeah.
No woman on planet Earth would want to be staying at home as a housewife, just reproducing, just being a baby making machine. What sort of life is that?
Yeah.
You're a waste of oxygen then. I'm sorry, but why would I want to get married and have a child and allow that child to be like, okay, I want that child to live the dream that I wanted to live, but I couldn't. No, fuck that. I'm going to live that dream. That child then will be free to create his own life, to his own dream.
But your mum never encouraged you to do your own dreams?
No, my mum encouraged us to study because she wanted to be educated, but she couldn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're not allowed to. She wouldn't want me to travel on my own.
If your mum was educated, what difference would that make?
I don't think I would have existed.
Yeah.
I think if my mum was educated, she wouldn't have gotten married. She wouldn't have had kids.
And stayed her life in England.
And I don't know what she would be doing, but
would she have the same life in Yemen if she was educated? Would she be given freedom?
She would eventually got no, she wouldn't have.
So that's quite.
Yeah. She would have eventually got married and had kids, but
she'd had to give up her career and everything.
Yeah, a woman in Yemen can't actually be married and have kids and have a career at the same time.
Is that the same today?
I don't know. It's war-torn at the moment. It's been war-torn since 2015. So it's gone back in ages. It was slowly changing. But now it's gone back a few dark ages.
So now you're called up for the army?
Called up for the army. How did I go about it? Oh, before that, actually. Let's talk about what my brother did to me, the little shit. When he was at university, when I was still working at TDL, I told you, ADHD, back and forth. Whilst I was still working at TDL, I was earning money. When I was earning money, he was at university studying. I don't know if it was business studies or travel and tourism, whatever the fuck he was doing. He came up to me and he said, he was in tears crying. I did believe him. I don't know what he did. I don't know what trouble he got involved in, but something happened to him. I don't know. Or was he bluffing it? Fuck knows. But he goes up to me, he's like, he needs 10 grand. I went, where the fuck am I going to get 10 grand from? I went, I can't just... He was like, he goes, you don't understand. If I don't get this money, it's going to... If some people are going to come to the house, I'm going to get threatened this and this and that. And I'm like, I went, Salah, where am I going to get 10? I don't have 10 grand. And he was like, I've done my research. Well, what do you mean you've done your research? And he was like, I've looked online, I know how much. He knew how much I was earning. He knew when I was getting paid because I had that close relationship with him, so I trusted him. Whilst he was at uni, and I was working, he wasn't working, so I didn't know what I was doing. I used to even go out shopping with him in the Trafford Centre and I'd buy him different clothes. I'd be like, we got, like, everybody's dressed like this, everybody's wearing this, and I ain't got the money. So I'd be like, yeah, come with me, and I'd spend money on him. I'd buy him clothes and all this and that. So I'd look after him. So he knew when I was earning. He knew when I was getting paid. He knew it. So he was like, look, I've gone online on NatWest because I bank with NatWest. Gone on NatWest and I looked about getting a £10,000 loan, personal loan. Just say to him, it's just using it for a wedding or whatever, and you can pay it over this amount of years, and this is how much you're paying back, and you can afford these installments. And he went, because he was like, Wallahi, he goes, as soon as I finish university and get myself a job, I'll pay you every single penny back. I went, okay. I agreed with it. Booked an appointment with the bank because you couldn't do it online then.
Yeah.
And get the money sorted. I had to physically go into the bank and have an interview, and they did their checks and they asked me, what's that? I went, it's just I'm planning for my wedding. I ain't fucking getting married.
Yeah.
But planning for my wedding, I need the money. And they were like, yeah, so I approved it. As soon as it got approved, they went, oh, in a few days, the money will be in your account. The money got sent to my account straight away, online transfer, took it, and I transferred it to my brother's account. Oh, and there you go, you got the money. And then I started paying. I got sacked from TDL, so I was in fucking debt.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford. Luckily, that's why I was desperate to get into the army.
Yeah.
I was desperate to get into the army at the same time, get away from my family, but I needed to pay this money, pay back the loan. I was getting... So when I got into the army, it was shit money. As a recruit in Pirbright, it was absolutely shit money. I couldn't afford. I was going into overdrafts. There was I think it was like 900 odd quid. I had no money to begin with, because before I joined the army, the money that I had left in my account, saving up or from the agency work, it was getting taken off me because the bank wanted their money back.
Yes, of course. What did your brother do with the money?
Don't know. Till this day, I don't know. You know, I'm 38 years old now, and I still have no idea what he's done with that money.
Did you ever ask him?
Yeah, of course I did. I'll get to you on that one, actually. So I got to the army, and everybody's like, yeah, you know, I think it was like 900 and odd quid you'd get paid a month.
Yeah.
At that time. Bearing in mind, they still take money off, and I was like, 900 odd quid. I've got that amount going, I think it was like nearly... Was it 300, 400 pounds a month they were taking off me?
Accommodation.
No, from the bank.
Okay, you're losing 300 out of your salary.
From my salary. Yeah, the accommodation come out. There was a daily food charge that you had to pay. So all in all, I was getting shit money. So, and then on top of that, the bank will take, and I would be left in an overdraft. So luckily, whilst you're in basic training, you can still eat, because they are taking the money from your finger, and it's a daily food charge. So I was still getting fed 3 times a day. Yeah. Still had a roof over my head, but my account was in an overdraft. So every month I was getting paid from the army. The bank not only take the personal loan, but they're charging me interest as well on the overdraft.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, I am never going to get out of this situation. But I couldn't afford to lose, to get back trooped in the army. I did though, I did get back trooped. But I was like, I got back trooped. Do you know how I got back trooped? Not because of fitness. I was super fit. Like, I'm not joking. Like, even though sometimes I'd be hanging out, like, I would be like exhausted. I wasn't giving up. I was like, I can't, I need this. I need this. Everyone's there like, I've joined the army because of this and that. I'm fucking joined because I needed to survive.
Yeah.
So I got back troops, and I felt like, fuck, what am I going to do here? I got back troops because with my shooting skills, I was good. I wasn't a shit shot, you know, but because of my eye, because do you know when you're looking through the rifle, you're looking through, you got to look, I have to close this eye, and I couldn't because I'm left eye dominant.
Right.
So I couldn't. So they were like, you're not going to pass your ACMT test. So we're going to back troop you. We're going to back troop you. So then, like, it gives you more time to practice, because you can train your eye.
Yeah.
The back troops being, I was like, fuck this. If I get back troops again, I'm out. They're going to discharge me.
Yeah.
So every fucking day, everything, I was practicing to the point where I was like, they were like, we can even give you a thing. But when you do, like, it was like a patch or something, try anything. He goes, but when you do your ACMT test, you can't wear that. You have to literally look down the eyesight with your own naked eye. I did it though. I managed.
Wow, that's good.
I managed, and I passed the ACMT test eventually. Passed the ACMT test, did the final exercise, did the final tab and all that kind of shit, and I passed out from basic training.
Right.
I passed out from basic training, and it was now time to go to my phase 2 training. Phase 2 training is in Winchester. No, do you know nobody came to my pass out parade?
Didn't they?
No, had absolutely no one.
Even though you did tell them. And...
I didn't, obviously my family, I didn't have really, you know how I told my family I was joining the army? Do you know what I did? Do you know on the day I was leaving to get the train down to Pirbright, it was Guildford. I think we were picked up from Guildford, yeah. On that morning, I'd already packed my bags. You know, I packed my bags and everything like that. My mum and dad knew nothing. Yeah. I had no idea. On that morning, I was leaving because I needed to leave in the morning.
Yeah.
I went knocking on their bedroom door. My bags were already outside, like literally had my bag packed, and it was outside the main door, ready to leave.
Yeah.
Knocked on their bedroom door. My mum and dad was still fast asleep, and I woke them up, and I turned around and I said, on my phone, I've still got that picture of my mum, literally, her face like in shock in bed, because I turned around and I said to her, I went, I'm leaving. She was like, where are you going? I went, I've joined the army. I went, she was like, when? I was like, now. I went, I am walking out this door and I'm getting a train. I'm off. I'm joining the army. My dad woke up in shock.
I bet, yeah.
I was shit scared. I thought they were going to trap me or something like that. I went running downstairs.
Oh, you thought they were going to keep you in the house and not let you go? Yeah.
I went running down the stairs and I opened the door, grabbed my bag and I left and I hid by the mosque, Eccles Mosque, called for a taxi to take me to the train station, went to the train station. And I was sat down on that train because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Joining the army now. I've left again.
It's a massive thing, isn't it?
It was hard.
Yeah.
No. Got to the army, everyone on my own. No one took
It's
me there.
almost like you had to escape.
And then got there. Everyone's with their family, bringing them in.
Yeah.
And I'm there on my own,
Yeah.
literally walking in on my own. Nobody took me there. I had to get... And then, passed out. No one came to my pass out parade. Do you know what I did? I called Stephen that I was seeing before the army. Because he said he'd come to my pass out parade. He didn't come.
Yeah.
So I was left with and I was like, I called Brian. I was like, I went, Brian, could you pick me up? I went, can you actually pick me up and take me to Warrington? Because I'm going to be there for a couple of weeks before I start in Winchester for my phase 2 training.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay.
That was good of him. Yeah.
He came, picked me up, drove me from Purbright and then all the way to Warrington, and I stayed at his house until I had to go to Winchester. I don't think he took me to Winchester. I took the train there. He just took me to the train station, did my phase 2 training, and then from there I got told, you go into your first unit. Did my phase 2. I passed everything first time, to be honest with you, because I was determined. But I think my PTSD was kicking in then,
Okay.
Because during phase 2 training, what they did to me, I thought, I got drunk. I got absolutely wasted drunk. It was we went to the bar on camp, and I got so drunk I don't even fucking remember it. And then I don't know how I got back into my room, and I was passed out. And I do remember I think it was one of the chain of commands. It was like waking me up and all this and that. I had to go to the meds to make sure I'm okay. And then when I went, and they were like asking me, saying that my behaviour was just abnormal. It was erratic, basically.
Okay.
They were like, and I was like, I don't drink. I was like, I went, maybe I got drunk fast because I don't drink. And then this is the point I started, when I was talking to the psychiatrist, I told him about my life and I was giving him the story. And he thought that I was fucked up in the head.
Yeah.
He, do you know what they did? They went, I had to go to Peterborough. They took me to a psych ward.
This is at early stages of joining the
Of the career, yeah. The early stages of my career. The first stages of my PTSD was right at the beginning.
Wow.
Took me to a psych ward. And I'm talking about that. It was a mental hospital, not a psych ward, a fucking mental hospital in Peterborough, where they took everything off you. You weren't one of those, you weren't allowed shoelaces. You weren't allowed no blades or anything like that. Everything had to keep with him. If you needed something, you'd sign for it. You'd be monitored. I was like, why am I here? Do you know what I mean? And I had to prove to them that I'm not insane.
Yeah.
And so basically they can assess my mental state to see, am I actually capable, am I suitable to carry on with my service?
Your career in the army.
Career in the army. And I was like, fuck no. I know what I need to do. And I went, I'm on survival mode. My head's fucked, but I don't care. I know my head's fucked. I know it's been fucked for years. It's like, this is not going to happen. Had my assessments done. Most of the assessments are tick boxes. Do you feel suicidal? Are you happy? No. Happy? Yes. Are you sleeping well? Yes. Interview with the psychiatrist. Yeah. So you're good to carry on.
Oh, good. Okay.
Carried on. And I was like, I had to constantly battle with myself every day in the army saying, I had to act a certain way. I had to act like I was not being affected. I was like, I can't lose this job now. I've lost my job in TDL. I can't afford to lose my job in the army. This is an opportunity now to build something. Finished trade training, went into 4 rifles. best unit I've ever served with. And it's no longer 4 Rifles, it's the 4 Rangers now. Best unit in the whole of the army, I'd say. I'm so happy I was there. I wasn't supposed to be there. I think there was a guy that was, when I was in phase 2 training, I think my assignment order was for Oxford originally. I didn't care. I was just ready to go anywhere.
Yeah.
In Oxford, and he got 4 Rifles in Aldershot, and he didn't want it because he was living in Rugby, and he was like, "Oh no, I want Oxford." I went, "Okay, let's see if we could do an assignment order swap." They approved it. We got an assignment order swap, so then I ended up with 4 Rifles. He ended up with that in the unit in Oxford, but I didn't mind. It was the best thing. I think it was the best thing I ever did. Got to 4 Rifles, and then one thing I loved about the infantry, they're just as fucked up as I am. So I felt,
Is there many women in it at this stage?
At this stage, not really many women. There was me as the female clerk, and the Pooja Gurung came later on, and then it was all
Are you sharing accommodation at this point?
You had your own room.
You had your own room?
Yeah, it was the Z-type block, so you had your own room, and in the blocks, it was just me, and there was the medic. So next door to me was Katie. She's called Kate Lavelle, I think. Was it Kate Lavelle? I can't even remember her name. But she was next door to me.
And you're making friends at this point?
Yeah.
You are, yeah.
Yeah, like I was...
Is that helpful for you?
Yeah. Making friends and everything like that. So at that point, me acting crazy and erratic was normal because they were just as crazy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like it was anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah. But there was one incident that it's always alcohol involved as well. There was a function and I hadn't eaten at all. And then I didn't want to drink because I was like, I know when I drink and when I'm drunk, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
Like, not as in like, I'm just, I've got no filter anyway, but the filter's even less when I'm drunk. And then I remember I was sat down and then I had my car, I parked my car up because I was like, I'm driving. I went, I'm not drinking, I'm driving. And I was like, I was driven there deliberately. So it's like, so I don't drink. Don't drink. Yeah. And then one of the Frankie, the clerk there, was like, come on, Cada, because they don't call me by my first name. It's Cada. Even though it's first name basis with everybody else, a lot of them couldn't call me Mahad. I don't know why. Yeah, Cada. They were like, they thought that my first name was Cada, so in the army it's Cada. Oh, come on, Cada, please, Cada. Right, fine. Gave my car keys to one of the other clerks, called Sims. I was like, Sims, I went, do me there's where my car's parked, you have it. I went, I'll just go and get a few drinks then. He was like, yeah, that's fine, I'll drive your car back. Hadn't eaten. Went to the bar. I ordered 6 shots of Jaeger bombs.
For yourself?
Yeah, literally for myself. And then I was like, right, okay, I'll just catch up with the rest of them that are drinking. Took the Jaeger bombs. Don't remember anything after that. Don't remember. What I remember after that was waking up in A&E, in a hospital, with a nurse basically speaking to me, thinking I'm an alcoholic. I think it was alcohol poisoning.
Okay.
And she was like asking me, I was like, no, I don't drink. I went, this is just a one-off. I went to a function, had a drink, and now I'm here. You know? It was only later on I found out what had happened. I was like, what the hell? It was, I'd drunk, didn't even finish off those 6 shots. I drunk to the point where I ended up going, I said, I'm going to the bathroom. I went, ordered some food, paid for the food, didn't end up getting the food. Went to the toilet. I passed out in the bathroom, and I was there for such a long time. They noticed like she's not come back. They found me in the toilet. They dragged me out the toilet. Had to pull my trousers up. I was vomiting. Passed out. I couldn't walk. I was passed out. They dragged me out, and the ambulance wouldn't come because of the state that I was in. They were like, no, you can make your own way to the hospital. They dragged me into my own car, and they had to drive me to A&E.
Wow.
And apparently I kind of pissed myself and everything. I had to cut my clothes open and everything like that. So I was just in a hospital gown. So when I got discharged from the hospital that day, I had to call my unit to come and get me because I had no clothes. My clothes were all cut and they were all soaked. And they came to get me. And it was only, I got a bit of a bollocking then.
Yeah.
I had to apologise to a few people because of apparently the way I was apparently the way I was speaking, showing some pictures, and I was just not in the right way.
And you don't remember any of it?
I don't remember any of it.
No.
Not a single thing. All I just remember is waking up in the hospital.
Dangerous stuff, alcohol.
And then, so I ended up getting a nickname. They called me the Kader bomb because of the Jaeger bombs.
Oh, okay.
And then it was like an in-house joke where they'll turn around and say to me every time we're going out, oh, make sure contact A&E in advance, book yourself a room in A&E.
So you got a reputation now.
But I don't drink. That's the thing. I don't drink.
Did you drink much after that?
No. Well, I did, yeah. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I did. I was going out, partying, drinking, didn't care. But it was easy because,
Are you happy at this point now?
No, I don't be honest with you. I was just doing it because I wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
I wanted to fit in.
And you were fitting in?
I was fitting in. But yeah. But realistically, that's not me. I'm not that type of person who's usually outgoing and...
So you're not finding yourself really, are you?
No. It was just...
You're following these patterns and you're going along with what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like if you think about it, as a kid, I didn't know who I was. Yeah. I'm just told what I had to be.
Yeah.
And then I go to any environment and I'm like, okay, see, that's what I have to do. Okay, I'll do that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I'd say till this day now, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want.
Yeah. So your journey now is you've gone through that. Where are you after this point? You've had all that going on. Where's it starting to change? And where are you settled at that point in the army? And then there's a change, or
no, because I've still not resolved my financial situation.
Okay.
Still in debt.
Yeah.
And no matter what I did, I couldn't. It's like even some drinks. I'm going further into an overdraft.
Yeah.
So the amount of
and you're paying off this loan that you got for your brother.
Yeah. I'm going. So there was only one thing I knew I was good at, believe it or not, and it was sex. And I was sleeping with guys, but I wasn't getting paid for it.
So basically, you were having relationships.
It wasn't
within your everyday.
It wasn't relationships.
So you having sex, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a relationship. It was just, get what I want.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was like, well, I'm still in fucking debt. And I think the reason I was sleeping with these guys, and it wasn't a relationship, I'm ashamed to admit it, but it's the truth. I thought, a guy would do, if you say to him you're going to have sex with him, they'll do anything. Yeah. I'm like, all right, give me a bit of this, do that, and I'll fuck you.
Yeah.
And they did. They were doing that.
Yeah.
It was just one guy in particular turns around and goes like this, have you seen this documentary? And I was like, no. And he was like, oh, watch it. He goes, it's about escorts. And he goes, they make shitloads of money, So I remember one night in camp, and I was in my room, and I was watching it, and I was like, I can do that. This is going to help me pay off my fucking debt. Yeah. So I did. I registered, and it was adultworks.com. The website still exists.
Is it like an agency then?
It's an online escort agency. Adultworks.com. I'm not advertising it or anything like that. But literally, that's it. Go on adultworks.com. You don't have to pay.
Yeah.
All you have to do is put a profile up on there, tell them what you want, what you can do, and your prices and all sorts, and then people contact you. And I was like,
what was the first occasion when you first done it? Yeah.
First done it, I was disgusted with myself. I'm not going to lie, I was disgusted, but I was desperate. I needed, what led to it, I was with another clerk, and we were going to Morrison's, because I can't remember what we were doing. We were going somewhere, driving somewhere, and you get up to £25 a day to spend on your food when you're out. It's called subsistence. We did that, and it's going to Morrison's, but you paid the money, but then you have to claim it back and they pay it back. I had no fucking money. I've used up now my overdraft to the point where I got to Morrison's, tried to pay, and card declined. I was so embarrassed. I was like, fuck, I can't even afford a sandwich here. Roger Coleman he's still in. He turns around and was like, oh, I'll pay for it. He paid for it. Got the receipt, and inside I was fuming at myself. Yeah.
Allowing it. Yeah.
It was just like everything coming back at me. Like, what has happened to lead me that I can't even afford to feed myself? Yeah. And it was like, I was lying to him. I was like, I've got money in my account. I promise I'll pay you back. Don't worry about it. It's only like £3. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking, only £3. I don't fucking have £3.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
So you're rock bottom in here,
Yeah.
aren't you? Yeah.
and then they were like, oh, I think I had no choice. I turned around and I said to I'd spoken to somebody in the unit. I went, I don't have no money. I went, it's a pain in dying unit. I went, I don't have any money and I can't afford to eat. I went, I'm starving. I've not eaten in 2 days.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, we can put you on a hungry soldier. I was like, what's that? And they were like, oh, it's like what they do is they give you like a ticket where you go to the cookhouse and you get food. You don't have to pay for it, but what they do is with your monthly money, they take that money back.
Okay.
I was like, I can't even afford that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not joking. I was like,
you can't afford them to take the money out of your money.
yeah,
You
like
need
you're
the
going to take it out of my pay.
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying is, I was asking for, could you just feed me, not take the money, basically?
Yeah.
No. But fuck it, adultworks.com, registered in, took up a job, I was getting money. They're paying obviously cash.
Yeah.
And I was taking that cash. I knew I was in debt. I can't afford to pay off my debt. Taking that cash, going buying food, at least I can eat. And I'll use my wage to pay off my overdraft.
Yeah.
I was doing that for a while until I got one customer who was absolutely disgusting. That was the end of it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was we arranged, and I brought him into camp. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I did. I brought him into camp. Didn't sign him in, but I just brought him into my car and I picked him up. And he turns around and he was like, oh, he was like, oh, I don't have any cash on me. I was like, well, you have to pay up front.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Well, you have to pay me. And I tried to scare him.
Yeah.
And I was like, listen, I'm not joking. I went, I've got people that I've got to pay. I mean, you don't pay up now, they're going to come after you.
Yeah.
And he was like, take me to a cash machine. He goes, go to the cash machine to come back. I went, no, I'll take you to the cash machine. Because I was like, I'll take you to the cash machine. You're going to take that money and you're going to give it to me. I went, in fact, now that you've made me do that, you're going to have to pay a bit extra.
Yeah.
He did. He gave me the money. He went to the cash machine. He withdrew the cash, gave it to me. And then I drove him back into camp, into the room, locked the door. And I went, right, 60 minutes. And then something came across me and I wasn't happy. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do it. I said to him, I was like, actually, stop. Don't want to do it. And he was like, no, I've paid. I went, I'll give you your fucking money back. He was like, no, I've paid. I was like, I don't want to do it. Here's your money. Take your money and go. He was like, no. And he was like, no, I'm going to do it. He was like, I'll put a timer on now, right now. And I'll do it. If I finish before the 60 minutes, then we can do other things. I was like, I don't want to do it. I was like, please just take your money and go. Just take your money and go. I went, I don't care. Just take your money and go. He was like, no. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm inside my room in camp now.
Yeah.
I can't just turn around and call somebody and be like, help me. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm going to fucking get into trouble now.
Yeah.
So I was like, he set the timer and I remember I was just covering my face. And I was just like, count every minute.
Yeah. So you come to an end there now. You've realised that it's just not something you can carry on doing. You got to your bottom of it.
Stop.
Yeah.
And I was just like, look at the clock. Wait.
It's the longest hour in your life. Yeah.
You'll stop. Then it finished. I was like, go. Just go. Just please just go. He won't go. I was like, fuck. He's going to murder me now. I thought he was going to fucking murder me.
Yeah.
I was like, just please can you go? And he was like, no. He was like, he goes, if I go, he goes, I've got a wife, I've got a family. And he was like, you're gonna, I was like, I promise you, I swear I'm not gonna say anything, I'm not gonna report you, just go. I was like, do you know what, if you want, here's your money as well. Just take your money. He was like, no. He goes, I promise you, I'm not gonna go. And he won't leave my room. And I was like, I think it took a couple of hours just to convince him to go. Eventually he left.
Yeah.
And fuck that. I was like, I am never doing this again. I was like, I'd rather just fucking starve than do this. I went, I can't do it. I mean, the weird thing is, I was like, I I'm never, ever going to judge an escort ever again in my life.
Yeah. Because you don't know their
You don't know
circumstances.
the circumstances.
Yeah.
I've ended up at a point where I had to sell my own body just to
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not clearing my debt. It's just so I can go and buy food.
It's not good for the army, is it? You're in a stage where they don't pay you enough to even...
No, they don't pay you enough, I'll be honest with you, but that's basically what happened. The circumstances, and after that I just didn't do any more jobs after that.
That was it, you were finished.
That was it, I officially did that.
Yeah.
I eventually paid off my debt and everything like that. I got posted out, ended up in 14th Signal Regiment. And in Brawdy, in Wales. My mind was not... I think, no, do you know what, during 4 Rifles, do you know that incident that happened?
Yeah.
That set me over the edge.
Okay.
That set me over the edge to the point where I wrote a suicide note.
Right.
I wanted to end it. I was like, this is no life. I can't afford to live.
Yeah.
I've got no family. You know, I'm in debt. Fucking resorted.
Is there no one in the army to talk to at this point?
I was ashamed of my situation.
Yeah.
Just embarrassed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not something I was...
And you got no one to talk to.
No one to talk to. At that point, I mean, like, yeah, I can talk about it now.
Yeah. But then
it was the hardest thing, because my mind couldn't comprehend what was going on at that time. I was just doing it to survive.
Yeah.
But I couldn't... And when I was thinking about it, and just, like, seeing other people just getting on with their life, no issues, and I'm there, like... Fuck.
You're thinking, how did I get to this point?
How did I get to this point?
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it. I honestly could not handle what was going on. I was like, right, how old was I then? I was, I can't remember, 28, 29.
Yeah.
I was like, my whole life I've never had peace.
Yeah.
I'm still not finding peace.
Yeah.
I've run away, I've escaped, I've done this, I've done that, and I swear I've not found peace. I was like, the only time I'm ever going to find peace is in my grave. I was like, I can't afford to even fucking bury myself. But you know what? I'm in the army. You know what? They'll bury me.
Yeah.
I was like, kill myself.
Yeah. So you really are at rock bottom.
I was at rock bottom.
Yeah, you don't know where to
I
go.
really wanted to end it. I really wanted to end it.
So what?
I just bought a rope.
How did you manage to sort of...
I've written a... So I'm still friends with the guy.
Yeah.
I was talking to him before, actually.
Yeah.
On the phone. I wrote a suicide note, and I went somewhere and I was like, I'm gonna go. It was the park that I used to go running in all the time. I was gonna hang myself off a tree. I had everything with me, and I wrote a note, and I called him actually, and it was because I've never slept with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he helped me financially. He gave me money to sort out my car when it was fucked.
Yeah.
And I remember calling him, and I was just basically thanking him and saying, you know, goodbye, basically, I'm never going to see you again. And he kind of knew what was going on. He was like, she's going to kill herself.
Right.
And he was like, and I was like saying to him, I was like, listen, I was like, I can't carry on. I was like, I really don't want to live no more.
Yeah.
I went, I'll tell you what, I've got a letter in my room. You know where my room is? Go and find it. It's a description of absolutely everything from A to Z of how to sort out my affairs after I'm dead.
Yeah.
And he was like, don't do it. I was like, I can't. I switched off my phone. I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go hang myself. Switched off my phone. But it took a while for me to build myself up. I was like, I want to end it, but I'm scared.
Yeah.
I want to end it, but I'm scared. How do I do it? How do I do it? And then I thought, I'm just going to switch my phone on. I switched my phone on and getting messages and missed calls. You know, he had already contacted, you know, the units here.
Yeah.
You know, she's off. She's going to kill herself. Yeah. Where can we find you? And he was ringing me. He was like, Kada, where are you? Let's come and get you. And I was like, fuck off. Leave me alone. I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
Eventually, I told him where I was. They come and got me. They took me to the med centre, took me to a hospital. And then I had to go to the R&P station. I don't know why. I can't even remember. I had to go to the R&P station, and I was like, I can't. I went, my life is a mess. I can't carry on living like this. I went, I'm really, really hurting. I went, really. I'm now selling my own fucking body to survive.
Yeah.
And they were like, there's help out there, help out there. I went, no, you don't get it. There's no fucking help. There's no hope for me. I ended up having to see DCMH, which is the Defence Community of Mental Health for the military. And then I was like having appointments and everything like that. But this time, whilst they knew that my head, they were like, "Oh, we'll put you as a only temporary MND, which is medically non-deployable." And I was like, "As long as it's temporary," I went, "You ain't fucking ending my career."
Yeah.
I went, "I'm gonna get myself better." I went, there's nothing psychologically wrong with me. I went, "I'm just in a bit of a tough time and I'm getting myself out. I will get myself out of it." So I had to go see a psychiatrist and all this and that. To cut a long story short, they diagnosed me with PTSD.
Okay. And that
Because I told him, and then I turned around and they were like, "Oh, you can get help." I went, "I want to upgrade. I need to be upgraded again." I went, they were like, "Oh, well, that's only through an assessment, all this and that." I was going through I knew that, in my head, I knew that I was never going to get better.
Yeah. So that was where your career is now starting to come to an end.
No, it was.
Yeah.
Slowly, but this is very, very the beginning of that slow journey. I was like, I'm going to have to lie to them. When I'm having my meetings with the doctor and the psychiatrist, I'm going to have to lie to them. I'm going to have to pretend that I'm, this therapy's helping me.
Yeah.
I just wanted my upgrade. I couldn't afford for my career to be over.
This is all still to do financial, really.
Yeah, financial.
You're still fighting financially.
Because I was like, even if I do leave the military, where I'm going to go? I've got no home to go to, So I was having my meetings, and then I know, because like I've been a survivor. I'm not a victim, and that's something I'd always explore. I'm not a fucking victim. I'm a survivor. That's what I do. I survive. I will do what I have to do to survive. I don't care what it takes. Yes, I have my moments where I'm like, I'm exhausted. I ain't got the energy to survive no more. But I am a survivor.
Yeah, you are, obviously. That's why you're here.
And then so I was saying to the psychiatrist, it's hell. I'm okay. I wasn't sleeping. I just put makeup.
Yeah.
I used to put makeup, covering those dark circles under my eyes. I'm good at like acting. Yeah, I'm okay acting all lively with the people. I'm good at all that. I can do that.
Yeah.
But then when I'm locked, then I'm at the end of the night when I'm left alone.
That's when you.
That is my brain. It's my worst enemy. I cannot deal with it. I can't deal with it. I get angry. I get violent and aggressive till this day. Till this day right now. This present day. I'll be in my flat and I'm sat there and I'm getting flashbacks. And I get stuff and I start throwing it against the wall. And I'm having to like scream, like, stop! Fucking stop! And I can't. And I'm like seeing things and I'm reliving things and it's like, just go away, and I can't. And it happens to me. Till this day, it's still there. And I can't stop. And I have to like, sometimes I'll be with people and I'll be like, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. And they're thinking, she's probably in there for a long time. She's having a shit.
Yeah.
And it's not. I'm in there trying to calm myself down because I'm having triggers. I'm having flashbacks while I'm with others. And I'm having to get out that situation because I don't want them to see me in that state.
So you're not in the army now?
No, I've been medically discharged.
So you've been medically discharged,
which
was hard. Obviously, now you've come out of the army.
But do you know what? Believe it or not, at the start, when I was lying to the doctor saying, I'm okay, that helped me because what I did was I went and I've applied for the Forces Help to Buy, secured myself the loan to buy the flat that I'm in.
Okay.
To put the deposit down because I was like, when I leave, I need somewhere to go. I've got no family. I've got nowhere to go. So I bought that flat, built myself up.
You've got that. So
yeah.
So now you've gone through all this. You've told everyone your story, but really deep down now you want to help other people.
Yeah, because
people with a similar sort of situation, someone who's there to listen to them, to understand them.
Because it's never ending, There is hope. There is hope. You can.
Do you feel you're
I tried
in.
to kill myself recently.
Are you in the right place at the moment? You feel you're making some progress.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a human, and yes, I'm gonna have these moments where your brain
It's going to trigger.
is just gonna trigger.
Okay.
It's gonna play mind tricks with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to keep telling yourself,
Yeah.
you just keep you have to keep
Okay.
going.
Well,
you have to keep going.
to keep going, and you have to keep going for the fact that you want to put your message across and you want to help other people.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to try and do with this going forward, after we've released your story out to everybody, you want to come in and do some podcasts.
Yeah.
Hopefully, bringing some people in, sharing the same similar experience that you've gone through, and then that way maybe, we can bring something together with yourself to talk to people and maybe get this out there and make people aware of it.
Yeah, this is going on now.
And that there isn't much help.
No.
And the army maybe should put some things in place for people like yourself who need some help. If you've got financial problems, there should be someone to talk to help you with those financial problems. And maybe these are things that you can make people aware of, and maybe some people will take notice of it.
They always say, oh, there's this help, this help. Most of them are making a financial profit out of people's misery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the system is designed to have people like me there.
Yeah.
So they can make money out of it. So realistically, there is no help. You have to help yourself.
Well, look, you've been really brave coming in and telling your story. And I think it's really going to be important to people for them to listen to that. And I think you coming in and talking to other people, and we will get people in to talk to you who are suffering the same problems. And then that way, hopefully we'll get a message out there and maybe get some help and get some people involved who want to help you. It's good. But you're doing really well. And I think you've done really well there. And I think that basically your struggle is coming to an end because you've addressed it.
Yeah.
And I think things will only get better from you now. And you are getting a bit of support. We know some people out there giving you some slight support.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to be the way to go. So what I'll do, I'll leave it there. We will talk again. And then we'll have a podcast together again. But we'll be explaining about what you're going to be doing on your podcast.
Yeah. No, that'll be good.
And then we can go from there. And but it's been really interesting. And even for me, I didn't realise all these things went on and the situation you've been in. But it's a story. It's your story and it's your journey. And hopefully the journey now is coming out the other side for you.
Yeah.
And we'll see where we go from there. So thanks for coming in.
No, thanks.
I know you've got to go off somewhere, so that's why I'm cutting it a little bit. But it's been brilliant. Thanks very much.
No, thank you. Honestly, it's been great meeting you.
No, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
See you again.
See you again.
Thank you.